What's going on, Torque Nation? How we doing, everybody? So today is going to be a little bit different. We're moving on with our builds series. If you followed our last video, I talked briefly about a CJ5 that we had in here, that I had in here, that we're going to be working on. And well, guys, this is it. This is my 1966 Jeep CJ5 in all of her glory. I'm looking forward to this build. I'm excited about this build. This build is going to be a lot of fun for me. I've never built a Jeep. I'm not going to be going overboard on this Jeep. I'm not going to be doing a lot of crazy work on this Jeep. This is not going to be a hot rodder. This is not going to be a rock crawler. This is not going to be a daily driver. This is just a Jeep that I'm going to be able to enjoy here and there whenever I get the opportunity, possibly for a weekend cruise or maybe a little bit of off-roading, but nothing extreme. This CJ5 actually is still factory. It has the Hurricane 4-cylinder motor in it. So obviously, if you guys are familiar with the Hurricane 4 cylinders, they are not powerful motors. I mean, I'm only looking at about 75 horse out of this motor, maybe 65 miles per hour. So I'm not going to be hitting any of those speed records. And quite frankly, it's really not going to be doing much on any highways or anything else. This is pretty much going to be just a little cruiser, and that's it. So anyways, we're going to get into this build. I'm looking forward to this. Like I mentioned before, I started looking for parts. When I got the Jeep did run, it did drive, but not very well. We actually had a problem with it wouldn't, I got it to where it would idle, but it would not go. Anytime you hit the throttle to go, it would just die out. It would just flood out immediately. So obviously I knew that we were going to have some issues with that. We'd need to look into the carburetor. But my biggest concern and my biggest problem was the fact I did not know where to look. I didn't know what parts I would need. I didn't know where to look for these parts because obviously they're just not, I was not familiar with them. It's not like I can just go down to AutoZone and say, hey guys, I need a carburetor rebuild kit for a 66 Hurricane 4-cylinder. And they may have them. They may not. I do not know. So, but I want as correct as I can find. I want it as OEM as I can find. And I actually stumbled across a company called Kaiser Willys, who actually specialize in these older Jeeps. They specialize in these parts that the older Jeeps need. And right off the bat, I knew that I'd struck a gold mine. Some of the things that I liked about their products and the company is, one, their knowledge. Their knowledge was key to me even finding out what I needed, even with something as small as a carburetor. They also focus, like I said, on the OEM products. I mean, look at their products. You can't tell between a 1966 part and a brand new Kaiser Willys part. They're just, their quality is that good. So far, I've been really happy with Kaiser Willys. Their staff has been great at helping me kind of get onto the right road. And so while I'm looking, that's going to help me out a ton with this. Another thing that Kaiser Willys offers is the service manual. Okay, now this service manual, I am going to have, obviously, like I mentioned before, I'm going to have Kaiser Willys links in the section below. So it's going to take you through, I mean, it takes you through everything from the exhaust, the fuel system, the electrical system, the interior, the rear axle, everything. This service manual will become your holy Bible. Okay, guys? So this is something that I've been kind of reading through because I've got a lot to learn when I'm doing this. So anyways, I'm going to kind of move forward past all of that. We're going to get into the build. I've already pretty much done everything for the carburetor. I already had the old carburetor off because I was going to rebuild it. I was looking into just trying to find a rebuild kit for it, but I didn't even know what carburetor it was to find it. Like I mentioned before, Kaiser Willys stepped up to the plate and they told me what I was going to need. So instead of just getting the rebuild kit, I figured I'm just going to go with a whole new carburetor. I don't trust the old carburetor. I don't know what's happened with the old carburetor. I don't know if it's missing parts or whatever was the case. So I just went with a newer carburetor. Obviously, it was a little bit more money, but to me, if I can make it run right, I'm okay with that. So I went with an all-new carburetor. Now this is the old carburetor. Now normally these two are together, okay? It'll actually fit like this. So that's how it sits on top of the manifold. It is 2 pieces. And so this is basically identical to the one that I got from Kaiser Willys. Okay, so, but the only thing is I left the bottom section actually on the manifold and had taken the carburetor off. So nonetheless, I got the bottom section off. It's just 2 bolts, really simple, 9/16 wrench, bam, you can take off your carburetor and you're good to go. And then just reverse the process, obviously, to put the new carburetor on. Another thing that wasn't too keen on was what the air filter element that it came with. That's actually what came on the Solex. So when I got the Jeep, this is what it had. Obviously, I knew that that wasn't right, but I did not know quite what to look for. And Kaiser Willys again stepped up to the plate. So with these Solex carburetors, the difference is they actually run off an oil bath system. That's something that I'm going to be getting into a little bit later. I'm going to save that for another episode. This is actually my oil bath right here. Through the oil bath runs through a hose, okay, right here into your air horn, which fits on top of the carburetor. Now I'm not going to install it because there's a few other things that I want to do before I get into all of the air horn, plumbing it into the oil bath. I want to actually disassemble the oil bath. I want to clean it up, see what's inside it, clean it out, put some fresh oil in it, and go from there, okay? So I'm not going to do everything up. I did get the new carburetor, or the new Solex carburetor installed, so it is ready to go, but obviously it's not plumbed up yet, and I'm not going to plumb it up. Like I mentioned before, there's some other parts that I want to look into. It's running off of, right now, it's running off an electrical fuel pump. I want to rip all that out of there, go back to the original mechanical fuel pump. I think the electrical fuel pump is actually pumping in too much fuel. It's actually a little bit too much for this little single barrel guy. And I just don't like the look of it. I want to try to go back to as factory as I can, like I said before. So the electric fuel pump is going to be coming out. I'm just taking it all out. So there's not a whole lot of plumbing for me to do right now. But like I mentioned before, the installation of the new carburetor was actually really simple. It's just 2 nuts down here, lift the old one off, put the new one on, make sure you get your gasket in between the 2, put the 2 nuts, 9/16 wrench, and you're ready to rock and roll. It's now installed. It's going to be a little bit of a deal trying to figure out how to tune this or how to get the timing and everything right. I haven't messed with one of these Solex carburetors before. So we're going to learn together, guys. But hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This build is going to be a lot of fun. It really, truly is. We've got a long ways to go on this before it gets back out onto the open road. But hey, I want your guys' input. If you guys have these Jeep CJ5s, or if you're familiar with the Hurricane motors, please let me know. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. If you've got any advice for me, if you've got any hints for me, please let me know in the comment section below, because I'm always open for input. If there's something that I'm missing, if you guys have been through these before, I could use all the help I can get right now. Again, I'm going to have the Kaiser Willys information in the section below, so you can check them out, see what parts they may have for your rebuild. If you're planning on doing a restoration or whatever is the case, hit them up, see what they can do for you. Huge thank you to Kaiser Willys for even getting me this far, but I've got a big feeling that I'm going to be using them a lot more, because even if you just look at a lot of this motor, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I've got a lot of cleaning up to do, a lot of wiring to do. I'm going to try to replace pretty much everything that I possibly can, if not clean it up and just get it out of there. So it's going to be fun. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you can actually stay in tune with everything that we're going to be doing with this build, with the Harley build, and some other projects that we're going to be coming on. And also, make sure you head over to www.torquedmag.com. Check us out. See what we're all about. See what Torque Magazine is all about. And click like. Always follow us on social media. And hey, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.